I say anything the least bit critical, she gets defensive, counterattacks, and off we go into yet another battle. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, if I can't say what's bothering me, how are we ever going to get better and work things out between us?
Evidence that's driving the current boom.
Oh, my word, I got so many great deals. I saved like $200. Bruce, you will love it. Look at these.
Karen, seriously? We just had a talk last night about the fact we had to watch our budget. We got the mortgage payment coming up, a high electric bill, the car needs to be fixed, and you're out here buying stuff we don't need.
Oh, my word, Bruce. The least you could have done is clear off the counter and put the dishes in the dishwasher. Instead, they're out here, and it would have taken you 5 minutes of your precious little time. Instead, you're reading the paper.
Hi, and welcome back to Fan and Flame Dates. This date we're going to be talking about criticism, and as you saw in our little skits, criticism can be often viewed as a very negative thing, a very demeaning thing in terms of calling each other names and putting one another down. But in this date we want to look at the positive traits of criticism, and we might even want to use the word reproof or instruction in righteousness. You know, if you look at a flaw in the life of your spouse, it maybe as a cut or wound, we have a choice. We can either treat it with a cotton ball and kind of be gentle and deal with it that way, or we can use some sandpaper and really get in there and clean it up. Now, if I had to clean up a little scratch here, honey, what you prefer, a cotton ball or the sandpaper?
Cotton ball.
Cotton ball. So we're going to look on this date in terms of how we can reframe criticism or reproof or instruction so that it's a positive thing. It's something that brings life to our marriage, brings life to our spouse. And we're going to use as a verse for this date, Proverbs 25:12. It says, like earrings of gold and an ornament of fine gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. So, guys, we all want to give our wives nice gifts. And sometimes I can remember starting out in the early days, I thought a nice gift was something very practical. So for Karen's birthday, I got her a vacuum cleaner. And for anniversary, I got her a microwave. And I thought these were just tremendous gifts, but I learned very quickly that really didn't add up, did it?
No.
You wanted something a little bit more romantic, personal, signify my love. So now we're into earrings of gold and ornaments of fine gold. They work very well.
You know, the reproof of your husband or your wife is so critical. The only way I'm going to change is if someone tells me that I'm doing something wrong. And I want to change. I want to be more like Christ. And the only way I'm going to do that is if the person I know and love can reprove me in a way that's going to help change me.
On this date, we have 4 props to help us understand the process of criticism a little better and how we can make it positive instead of negative. First one is a megaphone. Second one is a gift. Third one is an instruction book or a blueprint. And because this is a date and we have to have something to eat on every date, I brought along one of my favorite Big Mac's sandwiches, a big burger. But we're going to start with a gift. You know, the key that makes criticism either positive or negative is the attitude behind it. And the attitude that we want to focus on in this date is that we're giving criticism like we're giving a gift. Proverbs says, like earrings of gold or an ornament of fine gold is the wise reproof to a listening ear. And that's a gift. And when I give Karen gold earrings and a gold necklace, that's a gift that says, honey, I love you. And the attitude behind the gift is love. And that's the same with criticism. We need to understand that we're trying to make each other better spouses, better individuals. We're trying to make our marriage better and stronger. So with that in mind, we need to ask ourselves the question when we're going to give a criticism, is this going to help our marriage or is it going to hurt our marriage? Is this going to build her up or is it going to tear her down? How is this going to make us better? So, Karen, you had an idea of a criticism list here that you want to share with.
Well, it's easy for me to be impulsive and to react when Bruce is doing something that's irritating. So I decided that it'd be good for me to write down things that really bother me and keep it for a week. Go back over that list at the end of the week. Not always. Go back over that list at the end of the week and see which ones are really significant and which ones I can cross off and not have to deal with. The significant ones we need to go back and deal with, but we do it in a way that's gentle and kind and in the best interest of our spouse. I want Bruce to reprove me because I want to be more like Christ. And oftentimes I don't know if I'm doing something that's bothering him or bothering the kids or not being a Christ-like example in our home. So if he can say things in a nice way to get me to be more like Christ, I'm all over that.
So the key is we don't criticize out of anger. We criticize because we love and we want to build one another up. The next prop we have is the iconic Big Mac burger. Now, you probably wouldn't think that this is a gift of love for me to give it to you, would you, honey?
No, I wouldn't.
But I like 2 all-beef patty special sauce on a sesame seed bun. But you know, when we're talking about giving criticism as a gift of love, as an act of love, I want us to see criticism like giving a sandwich. And the bread represents a compliment, something positive. And research tells us that we should give about 9 compliments to every criticism that we're going to give. And then we get to the meat of the matter. You know, the 2 patties here, we're going to deal with the issue of what we want to confront. And then we want to end with that, for you, honey, sweet cheese in the bun. You love the cheese. So, you know, want to make sure that we end with something nice to say. So when we give a criticism as a criticism sandwich, the first thing we want to do is ask permission and say, Karen, you know, is now a good time to talk a little bit about that shopping spree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And honey, I understand that you want to be a great grandma and you want to show kids you love them. And you are a great grandma and show the kids that they love them by buying them nice things. But I don't think you really understood the severity of our financial situation I was trying to convey to you the other day. And I feel like you missed the point and you don't understand that we have a big mortgage payment. We have a lot to get done on the car to get it through inspection. We have a high utility bill. And, you know, I just felt a little disrespected in that you went outside of the budget. But I am thrilled with the fact that you're trying to give the kids those nice things for school and get them back so that they'll do well in school.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you at least talked to me about it, and you talked to me about it in a nice way. It's really important when you confront or when you reprove or when you criticize your spouse that you do it in a way that's going to draw you together. Doing it in kindness, doing it in love. The only way we're going to change as husband and wives or people, Christians, people who want to be more like Christ, is if someone brings to our attention things that we're doing wrong or things that aren't the best for our family and for our relationships. So I want Bruce to reprove me, but I really want him to do it in a kind and loving way, or else it puts me on the defensive, and then that draws us apart.
The last little thing in this area is we want to make the criticism in as few words as possible. I don't want to continue to beat Karen over the head with this budget thing over and over and over again. We've dealt with it. It's done. We've communicated, and hopefully I won't have to go through the burger again.
The megaphone signifies we want to attack the problem and not the person. And we also want to avoid missile words like always and never. You always leave your iced tea glasses around in the living room. You never call me when you're going to be late. You always, you never.
You know why you don't use those words? Because as soon as she uses always, what am I thinking? About the one time that I didn't. Or when she says never, I'm thinking about the one time that I did. So we never want to use the word always.
You got it. When I got so worked up about the kitchen not being cleaned up when I came home and called Bruce a slob, how do you think that made him feel?
It made me feel really lousy is how it made me feel.
So is that going to draw us closer together, or is that going to drive us apart? Is it going to help him want to love me more? I don't think so. So I need to attack the problem and not his character, and I need to do it couched in love and kindness.
And how does that look?
It looks like, Bruce, it would be so awesome. You are so kind, you are so nice, and you are so easygoing. But I would just love it if you would clean up the kitchen before I got home. That would be an awesome expression of love for me.
And the last thing we want to do in talking about this issue is avoid threats. You know, don't say, I'm going to retaliate. If this is the way you're going to treat me, this is the way I'm going to treat you back, or I'm going to leave, or I'm going to divorce you if this doesn't change. Never threaten your spouse. Always look for ways to be bringing you together, not apart.
And if you feel like you're going to threaten or use words that are going to drive you apart, say, you know, I love you, and that's why I'm going to leave the room, and get a grip on my thoughts and make it so that we can work out the problem in a positive way instead of a negative way.
The blueprint. The blueprint describes for us what the expected behaviors are. So you'd want to tell me, how is the kitchen supposed to look, so that I know. You shouldn't say to me, Bruce, I want you to be more loving, because I'm going to say, well, what does more loving look like?
Right.
So you need to give me the instructions. You need to draw me a picture. You need to write out the steps. What does that look like so that I can do that? So how can I show you that I love you by cleaning up the sink? What does that look like?
Well, it looks like by cleaning off the counter and wiping it down and just making it look like we're going to have company. But other things, like if you're going to be late, give me a call and say, I'm going to be late, I'm running late, I have a few things I have to do before I come home. That way I don't worry about you. Things that are thoughtful and considerate, like a phone call, like cleaning up the kitchen, like giving me a compliment.
Or putting my socks in the hamper.
Good idea. And picking up your iced tea glasses instead of leaving them around the living room.
Like this one?
Yes.
So we've looked at 4 ways to deal with criticism to make it positive instead of negative. To be that cotton ball instead of that sandpaper. We talked about the loving attitude of being a gift, that I'm giving Karen something good. She's giving me something good, trying to make me a better spouse, trying to make me a better person, trying to make our marriage better. We looked at the compliment sandwich there, where we give the compliment, then we deal with the issue, then we end with a compliment. And we want to give 9 compliments for every criticism. And then we talked about attacking the problem and not the person, and always attacking the problem, never the person. And then the blueprint. What does it look like? What is it that you want me to do? What is it? Don't be vague, be very specific in how you explain what it is you're expecting in terms of behavior and actions from your spouse. And the whole purpose of this is what Proverbs 25:12 says. Like earrings of gold and an ornament of fine gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. Now what we want you to do is go out, download the Need to Need, Nose to Nose questions, spend some time talking together about how these 4 areas of how to give and receive criticism are present in your marriage, and we hope it's going to fan the flame until we get together next time.